a little more relaxation in me.
We are live.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. I want that to be the beginning. I got a little relaxation in me.
Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. It's your host, formerly known as Bad Little Chuck, not Good Little Chuck. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share on your social media platforms. If you're watching this on Twitter, hit the retweet and like button so you let people know where you're watching this from. That'd be great. But with that being said, fellas, my guy Country, top left.
What up?
And we bring back a good friend of the show.
The weird one.
Screen, my guy, Joshua Brisco from Only Weird Games on KC Sports Network. Welcome back, Josh.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be back. And like we were talking about earlier today, I can't believe we have honest to goodness Chiefs news here on February 27th. So our timing couldn't have been better.
Got a little
Can you believe that Kelsey isn't retiring?
I can actually. I definitely can.
Oh, there's more than that.
Okay, can we start? Let me start with the little elephant in the room. That was like the worst kept. No way Travis Kelce was going to retire after that game and that performance. It just seems silly to me that we were even talking about it, and it actually became a thing. And it's like, are you serious? Like, why is this a thing? He's not retiring.
The only reason that it had legs as long as it did is because Travis Kelce successfully accomplished such a successful life that people were like, well, I mean, he could retire and maybe get more famous, which is true, but not the goal. Like, this made a ton of sense. I think he had 2 years in mind when he signed that deal last offseason, and now we get at least one last dance, probably the last dance with Travis Kelce. I'm very glad for that. I'm excited for at least one more year, 87.
Travis just needs some time to get away. That's all. He just needs time to get away.
Well, his girlfriend's pretty famous.
Pretty famous.
Yeah, extremely famous.
I would tell you a secret. I met Travis Kelce his rookie year, and he was on crutches. So this is when he was injured. I told a young Travis Kelce, you are the key to opening this whole thing up. And he was like, dude, like, I ain't even did nothing. I'm like, no, dude, you are the key to opening this whole thing up, bro. And he was so humble. And to act, and Chuck, we met him in St. Joe this year. And he actually act like he remembered our conversation. I was like, yeah, we was talking about your shoes. He was like, yeah, I remember that. Like, stop it, Travis. Stop. That was like 12 years ago.
Dude, I don't want to poke holes in that because, like, I feel like I have a couple of things like that. My wife ran into him at an event at one point that we were at years ago. And like we can save these hopefully another year or so until there is actually a retirement conversation.
Okay.
We can save these Travis Kelce stories because I feel like half of Kansas City has a story like that of like, I met Travis Kelce out at Power and Light one time, and he remembered that he remembered my face from 12 years previous. Like, that's just, I feel like everybody has a Travis Kelce story like that around here. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. And my son is just going to bed, but he was like, do you got any questions? And my son was like, how's your brother?
I mean, that was nice on the ass, that.
No, everybody, me, Chuck, and Travis looked at my son like, what? Why did you ask that?
Very friendly. Just a friendly young man.
But no, Travis gave us a couple minutes, and he really didn't have to because if you stop at that autograph line, you're stuck.
Yes, you'll be there.
And who all used to just stand around and do autographs? I know Eric Berry used to do it a lot. I want to say, who else used to do it?
I'm trying to remember. There definitely were a few guys who like famously had very, very long autograph signings. Was it Colquitt who had like kids sign his hat too? Somebody did that. I think that might have been a Colquitt thing.
Yeah, I know. I was very fortunate to have Jamal Charles and Derrick Johnson.
Never got those guys.
So
I got a little helmet and a football back here from God, man, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what year it was. I know that I got a football. You could probably figure out the year by this. I got a football with Scott Pioli's signature on it. If anybody wants to place a bid on that, I think I got Pioli and Todd Haley on this football back here. So I'm
Oh,
just
wow.
saying.
Oh my goodness.
I'll give out my Venmo if you want to start submitting bids.
I told Brett Veach. I got Brett Veach on mine. I
You
told
should.
Brett Veach. He was standing there. He was about to leave, and Chuck can attest to this, and then we can move on. I said, Brett, every time I get your autograph, we go to the Super Bowl, and he walked. Chuck didn't he right over? He walked
That's
right
awesome.
over like,
Hey, man.
okay, here we go. So we did make it
Can't
back
let
to
this
the
be my
Super Bowl.
fault.
I didn't say we would win it, Brett. I just said we made it. So
Yeah. You didn't say
hey,
that. You
it's
didn't
not
say
a cursed
that.
ball yet, Kyle, because we still made the Super Bowl, so it's not cursed.
Kyle,
Not yet.
chill out, Kyle. Chill out, Kyle.
You
Kyle,
did
we
your
country
part,
boy.
country. You did your part. Like, you got us back there again, and it's up to Brett to win the game.
Brett failed miserably.
Yeah. He shouldn't have played left tackle himself. I felt like that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay,
Brett
so
lost his mind.
the elephant in the room, Trey Scott.
Trey Scott. Come on,
Trey
brother.
Smith is franchise tag. Now, let's break this down. I think the salary cap being more than it was supposed to be is a major factor in why this happened. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. I think we've got a pretty good list of evidence that was a major part of why the finances were eligible at all for them to do this. Yes, I think so.
I'm about to say, you don't trust what Brett Veach said in regards to that?
Yeah, I had the quote open earlier. I don't have it anymore, but that when he was talking, I think on Tuesday, and they were starting to figure out that the NFL salary cap was going to go up by another $7 or $8 million more than they were expecting. That could put Trey Smith back in play, and I don't know where you guys are at or how you want to kind of take a crack at this, but I think pretty clearly to me now, I think the tag today is what they expect to be one step in an extension for Trey Smith, and that man's going to make a lot of money, and I think it's going to be with the Chiefs now. If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have told you it was probably going to be somewhere else.
It'd been a totally different answer. It was Chicago up until about 8-9 hours ago. I thought initially that they signed him to the franchise tag. He's going to get signed and traded. That was my initial thought. I think we backed off of that a little bit. I think a lot of bit. I think he's going to end up signing a long-term deal. And I think is favoring that move over anything else.
Sign a trade? No. Yeah,
I think there are a couple of reasons that the trade would be really hard. All of this to me is a little bit tough because they need to figure out how to get that deal done before the beginning of the league year, I think, at this point. Because right now he has a huge amount of salary up against the salary cap that is just reserved for Trey Smith that you can't get creative at all because it's just this year. It's just the franchise tag. So I think the plan is for a long-term deal. I would have been totally fine with a tag and trade if that market was there, and I just don't think it would be. I think it would have been a lot closer to the L'Jarius Sneed kind of song and dance of last offseason, and that just left a lot of money tied up in the Chiefs' cap that entire offseason plan. Even with them signing Trey Smith, which again I am expecting them to do now, to the long-term deal, whatever. Even with that, they've got a lot of holes they need to fill, and now a lot less money to work with. So I hope that this is the first move of like a pretty creative offseason rather than kind of being their one splash move. Because look, like Trey Smith is a very, very, very good football player. I don't want to make this anti-Trey Smith at all. But he was one member of an offensive line last year that was not very good. They had the best interior O-line in football, and the O-line was still the problem. So I don't know. I'm of a little bit of two minds here. Really good player, not a move I thought the Chiefs were going to make.
And the word is this, like John brought the sign trade scenario. Like you brought L'Jarius Sneed, right, as an example. Like I was hearing that I don't know if we would even been close to the return that you would have got for L'Jarius Sneed if you did a sign and trade with Trey Smith. So that would have made no sense to me. And to your point about us having the best interior line, like, yeah, I mean, of course, I still love to have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still going to be a plus regardless. But, I was listening to you and Carrington on the radio today. And Carrington brought up the point about the Chiefs needing to get a running back in the draft really need to hit that running back in the draft so that the interior offensive line could be more useful in that sense. Like, Kareem Hunt and Pop, I think they combined for 3.6 yards per carry or something like that. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yeah, the run game can be a little more effective if you're gonna keep Trey Smith around, and you definitely need that home run hitter back in this offense.
And he is like he is a weapon in the run game as a blocker. Like that's absolutely correct. Which is another reason that I kind of thought he might have more value to another offense, right? Like when you have an elite pass blocking guard like Joe Tooney and an elite all around center in Creed Humphrey, I thought that they would probably lean in a little bit more to figuring out how to make that work in the passing game and maybe spend a little bit more of that money elsewhere. Again, I have to think that they get a long-term deal done pretty soon, and then the rest of the offseason will start to take shape a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know where you guys are at, but I'm a little lukewarm on it because it really ties up the first big domino of the Chiefs offseason. If he walks and Nick Bolton walks, they have a lot of money to try to figure out where they're going to patch these holes up. On the other hand, I don't know that there was going to be a player on the open market who was a better football player than Trey Smith. So maybe they got the best available free agent. They're paying him like it though. I mean, they are paying him that premium.
Yeah, the free agency. It's not looking. Not on the offensive line. Even the tackles don't look that good either. Because Ronnie Stanley is probably the best free agent tackle, and he's a walking injury. He's a walking knee injury waiting to happen. No disrespect. He's a great player when he's healthy, but when is he ever healthy? And then the other guy, what's the guy from the Rams?
Cam Robinson and Ronnie Stanley are the two that kind of make some sense, but they both have huge question marks.
Yeah. Larry Jackson is who you about to bring on country.
Yeah, and he's young, but is he going to be? How much is that going to cost? Because there's not a lot of options, so somebody going to throw a bag at him.
Yep.
Can we match that bag? And really, can we match that bag with what we just did out? You know what I'm saying? So
right. Well, I think they're probably out of the big name left tackle market at this point, which means how are they looking at Kingsley right now? How are they looking at the draft class right now? It sounds like most of these top tackle prospects, even some of the higher end guys, are also guys that might end up finding their real home at guard. Like just listening to some more of the kind of draft experts these last couple of days with the combine going on. It's a weird group. So maybe again, like I could see the Chiefs just deciding like we're gonna keep our best and potentially not. We're gonna try to keep one of the best linemen hitting free agency in Trey Smith, maybe the best lineman hitting free agency. We're just gonna keep him and not worry about it. I do get that, but you still have a weakness at right tackle and a total question mark at left tackle, and so your offensive line is in pretty much the exact same place it was a month ago.
A few things. Here's what I don't get. Here's what I don't get about the King, by how almost everybody's sour on Kingsley all of a sudden. Like, as many opportunities we give Sky Moore in the wide receiver room, you gonna give up on Kingsley after 1 year? Hell no. Nah. Like, here's my thing. I think at the end of the day, I think a few of us have said this. I think they're gonna bring back DJ Humphries at the I guess worst case scenario, if you want to call it, and have him compete with Kingsley for that left tackle spot. What do you mean about to go with Kingsley after 1 year, man? Like, can we at least give the kid a full offseason? Can we at least give the kid an opportunity to go down to the offensive line masterminds in Dallas, Texas, and learn something from Duke Manyweather and all the other NFL offensive linemen that's going to be down there? Like, and can we at least give him an offseason of training and stuff? Can we at least give the kid more than 1 year? You know what I'm saying? I know it didn't look good, but dang, can we at least give the kid an opportunity to get his confidence back?
Can we give the kid 4 games? He played Baltimore a decent game, a good game. It was terrible against Cincinnati. They totally ruined his confidence, benched him, threw him to the side. Then he came in spot duty, and he looked like a kid that was young and that was benched and had lost his entire confidence. That's what he looked like. You guys, they ruined. Okay. I know Kyle's in the comments too. When are we going to start pointing at coaching? When are we going to – Andy Heck, Andy Reid, you're an offensive line guy. Why is this guy done? And it's not – I don't think it's the Chiefs' opinion. I think it's the fans' opinion. What turned the fan. He wasn't that bad, was he? Was he that? He was kind of bad.
Well, look, man, I agree with what you guys are saying, except for that very, very last part, because I really think this is a conversation that should be addressed to the Chiefs more so than to most Chiefs fans. I think what you guys are saying is a maybe I'm biased because I agree with you guys, but like I think that's a relatively growing opinion of like, well, we saw like really about 2 games worth of Kingsley, right? Again, week 1, most of week 2, a late pull, shows up a little bit of spot duty, and you saw him playing guard in week 18. I'm not even really counting that. Different position, different situation. I'm with you that I wouldn't have pulled the plug as like totally being out on Kingsley as a tackle at this point. The reason that I kind of am is because the Chiefs were. Like the people in the world who seemed the most out on Kingsley Suamataia as a left tackle are Andy Heck, Andy Reid, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the thing, like, and this isn't even revisionist for me, because look, man, if Kingsley plays all year, do the Chiefs lose games they actually won? Maybe. If he plays all year, do they get bounced before the Super Bowl? Maybe. If he plays all year, gets better, do they win the Super Bowl with Tooney at left guard and Kingsley looking a lot better at left tackle? Maybe. I don't know. You don't know. We're playing hypotheticals with all that. But the thing about it that's wild to me is that they drafted this guy in the second round. They traded up for him. They played him through those first 2 weeks. And I thought, and I'm all over the place saying this after week 2, I fully expected Kingsley to start in week 3 against Atlanta. I was really, really surprised when they fully pulled the plug then, because that felt like them saying, the experiment's over. I think he was a healthy scratch that week, and then he came back the week or 2 weeks after. I think he may have been active again the next game. But they really, really pulled the plug there. And so, again, I'm with you on, like, and like I see Kyle saying, you forgot Carrington calling him a bust in week 3. That's fine, man. But when the Kansas City Chiefs say our second round pick, who was our starter at left tackle out of training camp and started in week 1 and started in week 2, when he's a healthy scratch in week 3, I think it's misguided to blame anybody other than the Chiefs for being the ones who just called it there. Maybe there's hope this year. I'm totally cool with him going in the training camp as a legit option at left tackle. I just don't know if the Chiefs view him that way yet. It really sounded to me, and I don't know this for sure. Like I'm not in all the reporter scrums and everything, but I was really starting to buy the idea that he was going to be a starting guard in 2025. Like that at least was going to be the hope for him, was that he was going to be a real piece of that rotation. And now the question is, okay, is Kingsley your third guard or your starting left tackle? That's a pretty big scope for what a player could be in the eyes of the coaching staff.
And that's a damn
here's my new soapbox, Josh. I know versatility is a major arrow in your back. I'm over versatility.
Yeah.
If he's gonna be a left tackle, play him at left tackle. He doesn't need to study anything else. I don't want him taking snaps. I don't want him to be a guard. I don't want him on the special teams. Let him play left tackle. That's all he needs to worry about. Give him a binder that says left tackle, study this, and see me in training camp. I'm tired of we're just gonna try him at guard no. I don't want him to be a Kevin just said, draft the kid from Missouri who's a right tackle. I don't want to draft the right tackle and try to move him to left anymore. I'm over that. We've done that. It hasn't worked. Can we please just get left tackle? It's like, we didn't appreciate Eric Fisher enough. Jesus Christ.
God. I'll tell you what, Eric Fisher, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me on this, but I'm right. Eric Fisher and Orlando Brown Jr. need an apology letter from a lot of Chiefs fans. Because, man, I'll tell you what, I know nobody liked Orlando Brown Jr. when he was here. I remember. I was here for it. There has not been better left tackle play in Kansas City since he walked out the door. He misplayed his hand in negotiations. He was a pain. People didn't like him. Not the Chiefs didn't like him, but like fans didn't like how all that went. I get it. He's the best left tackle this team has had in many, many years. Donovan Smith also does deserve a little more credit. But yeah, Orlando Brown Jr. deserves more love than he gets from people who are still a little hurt about it.
Here's my
But
thing.
it's not like they haven't tried though. It's not like
No, and
they tried to sign Orlando Brown.
Yep.
They went out and got Donovan. They went out and got Humphreys. They've tried to fix the situation. There's something bigger going on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Alex Jones, but it's another conspiracy going on here that we need. It's a deeper problem than just the tackle.
I think a little bit of that for me is it goes back to what kind of scares me about the Trey Smith deal, where he's a really, really good. I think. Listen, the foxtails, how you know it's Orlando Brown.
That's funny. That's funny.
Don't let me roast your bike, dude. You need to upgrade that bike, Stacey. That's what you need to do. You need to upgrade that bike, brother. But go ahead, Josh. Continue.
Well, it's just like
sorry.
I'm here to defend defend Orlando Brown Jr.'s foxtail. I feel like it's nobody else in the NFL is doing that. I mean, I feel like that's just his thing. You gotta let him have that. It's one of the things that scares me about the Trey Smith deal a little bit, where it's like, pay Creed, I get it. They paid Joe Thuney, I get it. You're paying Trey Smith, you're paying Juwan Taylor. Like they have thrown a lot at the offensive line, and the one thing that it still kind of feels like they're trying to get by with like bubble gum and toothpicks is left tackle. It's like, man, like they're in part that's partially because there are no easy answers at left tackle. They tried to sign Trent Williams the offseason that they did sign Joe Thuney, right?
Threw a bag at him.
They went for it. They threw the bag at him. He got a slightly bigger bag, and they pivoted to Joe Thuney, and Joe Thuney's been great for this team. But if there was a Trent Williams on the market this offseason, I do not think Trey Smith would have gotten tagged, and I think that Trent Williams 2025 would be the starting left tackle for this team next year. He's just not available.
Hey, Steezy, I was just joking with you, bro. You know, I was just playing, man. I wasn't really a fan of that foxtail either.
Yeah, the foxtail was a bit much.
Kyle's right there. Look, man, if you're Orlando Brown Jr., you can get away with it. You're 6 foot everything.
But here's the thing, man. Like, I heard what Brett Veach said. He's talking about how Andy Heck was excited about Kingsley's upside at the guard position. No. If that was the case, then Joe Thuney might be gone. But I really doubt that the Chiefs going to let Joe Thuney walk out of the building like that. I would be shocked they let Joe Thuney walk out of the building and have Kingsley play left guard.
Not after that performance. He can't.
I don't believe none of that stuff about the guard, him playing guard. Like, no, at the end of the day, I'm with Country and pretty much everybody who said Kingsley is a left tackle. Let's have him focus on playing left tackle.
Is it college? Is college steering us wrong? That they're not making left tackles, they're not making tackle guys anymore. Because everybody, like Josh said, everybody coming out is now, yeah, he's a tackle in college, but he's a guard. Like, is that the problem? Like, where does the problem start? Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, what's going on here? Why can't we find a left tackle? We can find a corner that's all pro. We can find wide receivers that runs 4.21, but we can't find a left tackle. It's like it's flabbergasting. He muted.
Sorry,
there you go.
There we go. Sorry, I didn't actually touch anything. I've just been losing power to my mic the last couple of days, which is a cool thing for me to have happen. No, it's an interesting question, Country, because I mean, my best guess is kind of from like I went back through and looked at some recent draft classes as we've been having these conversations about like what the Chiefs' options are at left tackle. And I mean, there might really only be, I don't know, 2 or 3 really high-end left tackles that enter the league every year. And you know, usually those guys are very high draft picks. Sometimes you'll find somebody later on who's able to put it all together over time. But it is such like I mean, are there 15 great left tackles in the league right now?
No.
I don't know about great. No.
It's 5, maybe.
5's probably right. There's probably 5 great left tackles and then maybe 15 more who you're like fine with, you know? That's not 30. That does not add up to 32. And it's just, I wonder if that's just how most of the league is living right now.
And that brings me to my point about Juwan Taylor. Like, listen, people, Jawan Taylor gonna be on this roster. Just get in your brains, just get in your minds right now. Jawan Taylor will be a Kansas City Chief in 2025. Just get it through your heads right now. It is what it is. His cap hit is crazy. We know he's not really the third best player on the roster. He should be the third highest paid player on the roster, but it is what it is, man. Like, we can't be perfect. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta
Nobody's
live.
perfect.
We gotta live with that one, y'all.
I know Carrington was on the air on the radio saying that well, they spent this much at these positions, but Brett Veach told us a couple years ago we're only going to spend money in the trenches, and then the rest of this we're gonna sprinkle in some draft picks. We might spend some money over here, some money over there, but I'm focusing most of my money. Creed, Trey, Tooney, Chris Jones, Mike. That's where the money is. Patrick Mahomes. That's where they spend their money. Now we're gonna have to get creative. I think this is gonna be one of the most creative off seasons in a while. And people still doubt Brett Veach, but I think we're gonna show. I think Brett Veach is gonna have an opportunity to show why he's the top 3 GM in the league this year. Because he's gonna have to. You're gonna have to get creative. Money's gonna have to be moved over here. It's gonna look funny over here. It's gonna be some boy years over here. We're gonna pull out all the tricks this summer. We have to.
And Brett Veach can be as good as he wants. You're going to need Clark Hunt to sign those checks.
This got to sign those checks.
I'll tell you what, you talk about this being like a year for Brett Veach to kind of show like he's a top 3 GM and all that. This would be a hell of an offseason for Clark Hunt to show that he's a top 3 owner. Because the one thing that this team, I mean, I'm not even talking about like the NFLPA report card stuff where they've made like a little bit of improvement, which is the whole point of those report cards, right? But the way the Chiefs spend and structure money, they have a lower overall cash spending than you would expect, thinking about the contracts they sign, where they fit in salary cap spending. They're always pretty tight up against the salary cap and rolling over money just to to have extra in terms of cap space. But when it comes to cash budget salary, Clark Hunt is trailing his peers there, certainly among teams that are on the top end of the NFL, like the Chiefs have been over this entire era. So it'll be a really big offseason in the front office for a whole lot of levels. And like your call back to Carrington's thing about the positional value, I think is interesting because it also opens up a little bit of like what their philosophy is. Because now, look, they take Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a running back in 2020, and first round, that's no good. And then the next year, Nick Bolton's the first pick. He's a linebacker, but it was a second-round pick. It wasn't like he was, a top 20 pick. But since those drafts, and really since 2020, the Chiefs have used their top draft picks each year on more high-value positions. They don't always work. You get a Rashee Rice, you get a Sky Moore, you get an Xavier Worthy. You get a Felix Udike-Uzama, you get a George Karlaftis. There's always going to be, and there's ranges there, amongst all those guys. But they've started drafting for those high value positions. Trent McDuffie, not in the trenches, but a value position at corner. They've been drafting those positions and then paying some kind of known quantity guys that are in less quote premium positions like guard and center and even defensive tackle. Although Chris Jones totally reaches beyond what it means to be a defensive tackle.
Yeah, he's a unicorn.
Yes, 100%. But like they've found some interesting ways to sort out the roster that way that is unique to other teams. Kyle, I've been waiting for Seth Kaiser has had my explicit permission to tase me since the day the Chiefs drafted Clyde. And he is simply maybe not built for it. I don't know. But like you should take this up with Seth. Because honestly, also, if you needle Seth enough, he will get defensive and he will tase me. I'm ready for it. He just hasn't done it yet.
I think I remember that.
This year.
Did that start on the night show a couple of years ago?
That started on Times Ours because we were talking about the 2020 draft, and Nate said something. I should have known better, but Nate said something about the Chiefs sniffing around running backs at the end of the first round. And I said I'd be shocked if the Chiefs drafted a running back in the first round. They would never do something so foolish. In fact, if they draft a running back in the first round, you can tase me. And they did. And now that's been hanging over my head for Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a New Orleans Saint now, and that's still dangling over my head. And then Seth said that if Aaron Rodgers texted Jordan Love after the Packers drafted Jordan Love, that he would eat a ghost pepper. And the report came out that he did reach out, that Aaron Rodgers did reach out to Jordan Love shortly after he was drafted, and Seth has a ghost pepper to eat. So here we are.
Oh man, yeah, I can't wait till that finally.
Josh, you got to be careful, man.
No, I listen. Hey, I've learned my lesson. I haven't done that again. I've had one taser bet. I'm not making another.
Yeah, I wouldn't do another one after this one, bro.
No,
I wouldn't.
So with the big Trey Smith thing, did that effectively pack up the locker for Nick Bolton?
I think it did. Yeah, the way Veach had been talking about it, I was already kind of going in that direction where I think the writing was on the wall for Bolton. I will say that for the Mizzou guys amongst us, for the Nick Bolton fan club, if you want to hold out some hope, I would say that the only path that he has to coming back would look like kind of like Mike Dana's last year almost, and Dana was a different situation for a lot of reasons, but like testing the market, see what's out there, and then how bad do you want to come back, and what are your other offers? But I think somebody's probably going to pay Nick Bolton a pretty penny, and that he'll move on this offseason.
Yeah, because I heard Seth was talking about if Nick Bolton would come back for $7 to $8 million, that's great. I was like, nah, he ain't going that low, man.
No, and Seth knows that too, but he's like, I'll give him the Drew Tranquill contract, and I think I would too. Like that makes sense.
Because like I've heard a few Patriots fans, they want Nick Bolton on their team, so Nick Bolton might have some suitors.
Yeah, you know and he should. He's had a really nice start to his career, and it's very look, man. Again, this is the thing. Like, if you guys want to talk about McDuffie at some point too, like obviously he's not a free agent. He's got time, but I think they're gonna try to get that extension done. It's gonna be really, really hard to keep balancing all of these players. You hit some guys in the draft, and then you've got to figure out who you're paying, and then who you have to replace in the draft. It's why dynasties don't happen very often.
And that's a great question my ass right there. The green dot situation, because I heard some people talking about Leo could step in and take over that green dot spot, but it's like I'm not so sure about that, because I mean that's a lot more responsibility than just playing outside linebacker. And then on top of that, if you're gonna replace him, like the free agent market looks like he said, it looks pretty dry. So I mean, at this point, you may have to just go through the draft, man. Like what round would you even look at Mike linebacker if you're gonna go through the draft?
That's a good question. I haven't really looked at the linebacker class. I'll say my slam dunk though is that Drew Tranquill is the green dot next year. He took that over when Bolton was hurt and the defense didn't miss a beat, not in 2024 but in 2023, right? And he was completely competent in that spot. I think you have Tranquill and Chanel out there, and then you find one of those guys who's maybe been a little bit of like a scheme misfit somewhere else. Honestly, you find someone's Drew Tranquill and bring them in, and you try that, like, hey, here's a one. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give you a more fun name. You guys familiar with a little linebacker out of New Orleans named William Gay Jr.?
I mean, look, I'll be open to bringing him back.
Bring him back. He's a free agent. It'll be $3 million. He's your third guy. Like, it's he and Chanel are kind of both physical freaks who can kind of overreact to things sometimes, or underreact and have to catch up, but they can catch up. You give me Drew Tranquill, Leo, and Willie Gay next year. I'm cool with that. And then you draft somebody, because this is the last year for Tranquill on this contract. You find your early day 3 kind of project like Leo was.
And I'm no Nate Taylor, but he's very interested.
Yeah. And then Kyle said in the comments that Leo played in the middle in college at Wisconsin, and I didn't really watch much Wisconsin, so I don't remember if Leo did play in the middle or not. So I mean, we did get
a new linebackers coach too, so there might be some changes coming in that department.
Yeah, and that's House's back, right? I was kind of
and House is back.
I was vaguely online, offline throughout all of that, but yeah, that's kind of an interesting shuffle there. But look, I mean, House
was kind of like Spags next in line. Was he like being groomed for Spags?
Yeah,
replacement kind of.
He was like one. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Look at the defensive coaching staff and think like, well, man, I think like 4 or 5 of these guys could be coordinators someday. Like they're kind of on that track. House was one of those guys. I think I don't want to run him out of town. I don't want to run Spags out of town. But like Dave Merritt should have been a defensive coordinator 2 years ago. And I hope he's the guy that's kind of in line behind Spags if he's still here whenever Spags retires. Again, no idea when that'll be, but like Merritt, House, Brendan Daly, Joe Cullen was a defensive coordinator, obviously, before. Like that defensive coaching room is an unbelievable thing. And you got to remember, this year they had like no turnover from a player perspective. They're gonna have to coach through some changes on the defensive side this year. But I feel like they've got the crew to do it.
Why did we get a lot of new blood not new blood, not necessarily new blood in the defensive coaching, but we didn't get no changes in the offense? Now, I know, Chuck, don't say Matt Nagy. I know where you're going. I can smell it. I can see the smoke coming out your ears. I think there needs to be some younger blood in the offensive. Not to say Andy's losing touch, because I think Andy's so far above the league that he really could fall off for a couple of years, and then everybody could like catch up to him and he'd still be ahead. But are we missing young vision, young youthfulness in the offensive locker room?
Yeah, I think there's a real chance of that, specifically in the coaching staff, right? And kind of game plan side and everything. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny because I can really build up the argument on either side. Like when you mention, and how far ahead of the league Andy Reid is. I think the place where Andy Reid is the furthest ahead of everybody else is probably within like his people, if that makes sense. Like the organizational structure and the way that everything in that building works. Like Andy Reid is at the top of the org chart. And he has such a crazy coaching tree ranging across the entire NFL. He has so many trusted voices in the building and all of that. So when you have guys who leave, like Matt Nagy gets a head coaching job, Doug Peterson gets a head coaching job, Eric Bieniemy doesn't get a head coaching job, but you have these guys who go other places and then either fail or go through the process and end up back in for whatever reason. Andy Reid's going to welcome back in Matt Nagy, or I think there's a really good chance, I don't know, maybe if he's doing something else, maybe this time has passed, but like Doug Peterson being like some passing game coordinator wouldn't surprise me at all, because Andy Reid wants to keep the guys, not in the least, because Andy wants to keep the guys around him who he trusts to operate that organizational chart, right? Like to keep everybody coaching the coaches who are coaching the assistants who are coaching the players. Like that entire thing is like such an impressive feat of team building that I understand why Andy Reid falls on the familiar time and time again, because the familiar has been very successful. With all of that being said, I would love for a Shanahan assistant to get a role in this offense, for a McVay assistant to have a role in this offense. I don't mean offensive coordinator. I certainly don't mean taking the offense away from Andy Reid. But I do think that there can be a little bit of redundancy, a little bit of staleness maybe, when all of your brain trust has such similar experiences, such similar points that they're building off of. And so I think there's something to that. I think there's like a fun and fair conversation about how could you spice up the coaching room without just bringing back a guy who's been here before.
Yeah, I want to make this very clear. Listen, I know it's Andy Reid's playbook. I done said this many times. I know it's Andy Reid's playbook. I know he gets the final say. But y'all cannot tell me these last 2 years it's been a little bit of a hindrance with Patrick Mahomes' production in regards to Matt Nagy being on this coaching staff. I'm sorry, man. Like, film, numbers, whatever scenario you want to go with. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not really seeing the same guy that we was accustomed to with these first few years, man. Like, listen, everyone want to talk about the 5,000 to 50 touchdown season, right? We can argue that he was just as good on Airbnb's final year of being on the staff. And that room had MVS, Juju, Sky, and Tony. And he threw 40 touchdowns. Like I'm just saying, like, I know we went through injuries this past season. Like, Rasheed got hurt. Xavier Worthy going through a learning curve. DeAndre Hopkins didn't get here until the middle of the season. I know we went through all that, bro, but that's still better than what we went through when we beat the Eagles the first time in the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, I feel like Matt Nagy doesn't challenge Patrick Mahomes to be great. Like how Eric Bieniemy challenged Patrick to be great. That's just how I see it. I just don't. That's just how I see it.
And that goes also to the quote that after the Super Bowl, those coaches quotes that came out, those anonymous quotes, didn't help the argument at all. Of I'm scared, I'm not giving Pat enough to do. I'm not. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
what a terrible quote. I hated that quote. I don't know why it was said. I don't know why he had enough job security to say that. I don't know who let that loose. I don't know why a PR person didn't say, hey, cut that one. That doesn't work. That didn't help none of the cases. There's been a drop off, Chuck, but you got to add into the other factors of the line has dropped off. The defense has gotten better.
Yeah.
So he doesn't. Pat threw for 50. I keep going back to 2018 because Pat threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. Here's the part that fans leave out. Every yard, every touchdown, he had to score that. He had to throw for 50 touchdowns. There were no wasted points because you're playing the Rams and they're putting up 51. You got to score 50. Like he didn't have a choice.
True.
You feel what I'm saying? Like when the Patriots scored 30, I got to give you 30. I have no choice. If we want to compete in this game, I have to throw 4 touchdowns tonight. Like it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So
true. And look, and I didn't even mention Hollywood Brown. We didn't have him for a good part of the season. Like Kareem Hunt coming off the couch. We didn't have Pop for. I didn't even mention those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Here's where I'll try to. I'll give you a little something from both sides here because I can't help myself. I love playing the middle. Also though, because like sometimes there's truth to all this. The version of Patrick Mahomes that we saw this year was like Bob Sutton. Shout out Bob Sutton. MVP. That's such a good call, Kyle. This version of Patrick Mahomes was like often frustrating to watch, right? And that's not a cool thing to feel watching probably the greatest quarterback of all time do his thing. Certainly the greatest of this era.
Right.
Watching him go through all of that and watching absolutely hugely impacted by the tackle situation, the wide receiver situation, and the times that's been a problem throughout his career. Like you can go all the way through, like we all have memories locked in from the Tampa Super Bowl of Mahomes playing out of his mind and everybody around him letting him down. And we're all going to have memories of this Super Bowl where everybody was playing terribly and Mahomes also let everybody else down. Like Mahomes was a part of the problem this time. The thing that I would have to ask in regards to the like Matt Nagy problem, if you will, is to point out or to explain why he's to blame. And now look, like when the offense is worse, you look at the offensive coordinator. I think that's fair. But Andy Reid is the offensive coordinator. And you mentioned this already, Chuck, but like it's his playbook and he is literally calling the plays. He looks at his sheet, he gives Matt Nagy a number or a word or whatever, and then Matt Nagy gives Patrick Mahomes the entire play call so Andy Reid can get on to the next thing. Mahomes gets the play call, he says it to the huddle, they run the play. So I even think that there might be a little bit of like a philosophical hangover from the Bengals AFC Championship game and that entire season. Now, obviously, again, 2022 Mahomes was unreal. But like when you look at the ways that Mahomes adjusted as the league adjusted to him, no one ever got a blueprint on Mahomes. No one ever solved Mahomes. That was always blown out of proportion. But when you look at the way that Mahomes was countered by defenses and then how he changed his game in response, the most impressive part of that to me was that he could transform into a different quarterback in different circumstances to just be the quarterback you needed to win. You're getting a bunch of too high coverages. We're going to dink and dunk and hand it off. We're just going to move the ball down the field and we'll beat you 27-24 and we'll move on. You need high-flying deep shots. You want this offense running through Tyreek Hill or even pushing the ball to MVS in the playoffs? I can do that for you. What we saw from him, especially like the Super Bowl was a tough example because it was brutal, and the offense was good before that in the playoffs. But when the offense struggled this year, it felt like everything was short, everything was tight, nothing moved freely in the offense, which I think is still probably mostly about injuries and all of the things they had to overcome that way. But it was frustrating to watch Mahomes get stuck in what felt like game manager mode. And I don't think that's any individual coach's fault. It might partially be Mahomes in his own head, and that might be that Andy Reid was pounding the take what's their thing too much. I think Matt Nagy would love for this offense to be more explosive. I also do not know if Matt Nagy can make that work in Patrick Mahomes' head. I don't know how Nagy is teaching that. I don't know how Andy's teaching it. But I think it's totally fair to say that there's something incongruous in the offense right now.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, man, it's just I'm just really trying to figure out what was the thing that really made Patrick Mahomes tick with EB the most in comparison to Matt Nagy, where it's not really clicking all the way. You know what I'm saying? But we'll just see what happens, man. Like, I think Andy Reid's thinking on this is, we went through all these injuries, and I think Nate Taylor said it on Only Weird Games the other day. He said when all the injuries happened, they just decided to be like, look, we're just gonna do it this way now. You know what I mean? Forget how we was gonna do it at the beginning of the year, and it looked more conservative.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think in a lot of ways this is also another version of like a similar coaching conversation. I think with the benefit of hindsight and some time away from the Super Bowl, I think that the Chiefs this year were a bit of an overachieving disappointment, if that makes sense, where obviously they didn't overachieve by preseason expectations, but if you told me like, hey, this team's going to play pretty much the entire season without its number 1 wide receiver, its number 2 wide receiver, its number 1 left tackle, its number 2 corner, like, I think I'm missing some guys too. Like, the things that they were able to overcome, their number 1 running back for a huge chunk of it, the things the Chiefs were able to like adjust to on the fly was pretty remarkable. It just finally all came crumbling down when they met a much better team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it came at the worst time of all time. I don't think nobody's going to change Andy Reid's voice. I just would love to have another voice in the room because I honestly think that he takes what Nagy says and Joe Bloommeyer and all those guys get a say in the week. During the week, everybody gets a say, and then Andy Reid breaks it down like that. But do we know? Is it the youthfulness, or is it the injuries holding them back? Is it the game plans? Is it the way defenses play us? Is that just holding us back, or is it I'm saving this for? I'll see you. Yeah. I'm playing Buffalo. I'll save it. Yeah, just gonna be a little vanilla this week because we know we'll see you again this week. I mean, later on, if I'm playing Cincinnati, I'm not gonna show Cincinnati everything because I know I'm gonna see you guys later. And yes, D-Mac, that's why it is impossible. So I don't know why that comment isn't coming up. It's impossible to 3P, but there it goes. But yeah, it's difficult, man. This was a disappointing. It's disappointing because you didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's the standard they've set. That's acceptable, I think. Yeah.
But it also was a great season because you persevered. They showed a toughness. This team showed a toughness, and they showed we can win in a variety of ways. If you want to play us like this, okay, we can do that. We can do that. We don't like doing that, but we can beat you like that. We can beat you defensively, which was something. If you said that in 2018, people would have probably laughed at you. They're like, you're going to win a game. You're going to win a game on a blocked field goal. Just like that guy smoked is something real good. But it's. What were you more hurt by in the Super Bowl loss? Were you hurt by the performance, the effort, the game plan? Like it just didn't. When D Hop dropped that ball, it was just like,
yes, that was what I was gonna say.
we just don't got it. I'm one of the last. I was one of the last guys that when we were playing Buffalo, and I'm like 13 seconds. Hey, fuck it, let's just go win, right? But it when D Hop dropped that ball, it was just like, oh. And then they showed, and this never happens. They showed Chris Jones reacting to that, and that never happens.
Never. They all knew too.
Never.
We might have been the last
face. We've been down 24-0 to Houston. It was stone face, stay focused, one play at a time. We've never seen them crack, and Chris Jones cracked. And I said, damn it, we're gonna lose this game. So I'm sorry, I said that a long way, but no. What hurt the most?
I think I want to stay on that moment for a second, because that to me was like, that was the last arrow, and it was like, all right, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna wait for Kendrick. Like that's what the day became about. The day became about what's the stadium gonna do for A minor. Like that's all that mattered. When DeAndre Hopkins dropped that freaking football, and he is such an unfair person for me to be mad at here, such an unfair villain. But that's why he's the worst villain of this game, the worst moment, because he's DeAndre Hopkins. That man is every stitch of his Hall of Fame jacket should be done today. Some of the best hands in NFL history, and they still would have needed a miracle. But he had grass, and they finally had what looked like a spark of offense. DeAndre Hopkins was open. Patrick Mahomes delivered it, and two of the greatest hands in NFL history dropped the ball in the Super Bowl. And then they punt, and then it's like that. That was, I mean, obviously the second Mahomes pick was pretty much ball. It felt like this is probably it. That Hopkins drop crushed me.
He had at least 50 yards of grass in front. It was just oh God.
Like if they
he never
there,
drops. He never drops that ball. Never.
If they score there, they get the ball back after the half. And if they score after the half, now it's 24-14, and the Eagles are scared.
Josh, I was just looking for some spark.
Anything.
I was looking for the McCall Hardman punt return.
Yes.
Kadarius
Toney.
Whatever. or the Mahomes run in Tennessee. Just looking for some type of spark, and that was it. And then I was like, wow, we normally Demarcus Robinson is going to normally make that. It's like somebody that shouldn't even make the play is going to make it. And it was like literally if D-Hop's, he's going to spark the comeback of all comebacks if he makes this catch. And we dropped him.
You're right. It's like I've seen Byron Pringle make this catch. Certainly DeAndre Hopkins will, right? And nope, just wasn't that day. So to your original question of like what like hurt the most, kind of big picture, it's certainly on the offensive side. The defense was totally fine. I know the final score says 40.
Defense kept it close for a long time. They played their asses off.
They gave up 10 real points in the first half when the game was actually still a factor. They absolutely played their asses off. I think the most frustrating thing is that the Eagles' game plan had absolutely no wrinkles whatsoever, and they still absolutely punked the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs went into that game knowing that Joe Thuney had a disadvantage in terms of his arm length, in terms of like the matchup on the edge, in terms of Josh Sweat and Jalix Hunt both being dudes with really long arms. Obviously, Juwan Taylor had a bad day. Mike Caliendo had a terrible day. But at any point, not that this would have saved it, but they could have gone DJ Humphries and Joe Thuney and at least made sure they got great left guard play, right? Like even if Humphries was a disaster at left tackle, Joe Thuney was a disaster at left tackle. So you could have at least made that maybe a wash and get Hall of Fame left guard play again. But after not pushing the ball downfield enough all season, that game plan was the one where they thought they were going to just own downfield. And Xavier Worthy was open, man. It was working. But the Chiefs really went into that game with 2 weeks to prepare. And they thought, okay, so as long as Joe Thuney and Mike Caliendo and Trey Smith versus Jalen Carter, a matchup he lost, by the way, like just in big picture, and then Juwan Taylor on the other side, as long as those four guys all really step up here against the best defensive line they've seen this year in all likelihood, as long as they can hold up for 3 seconds, we're going to win this game going downfield.
Yeah.
Well, man, nobody thought that was going to work. Like, that's not what the offense was when you moved Tooney to tackle. It became like this quick game short stuff. You got quick game and short stuff trying to make life easier on Tooney as your left tackle. All right, fine, play that way. Or, you don't trust your offensive lines. You have to have Mahomes on the move, rolling out to the right constantly. Okay, fine. It was such a, I don't even want to say it was bland, because if it would have worked, it would have been high flying fireworks. But it felt like hopeless. I mean, it was a hopeless game plan with what the Eagles did, and the Eagles didn't have to blitz. Not that would have helped. Don't blitz Mahomes, but like they didn't blitz ever, and they completely owned the Chiefs' offense. Totally dominated.
It was like somebody was in the office and Andy Reid was like, "Guys, I don't know what to do." It's like, what? What do you mean? You're Andy Reid. I will say this. The only saving grace of this game, and you can blame the starters or the second string, Pat Mahomes, and excuse my language, Pat Mahomes had a little fuck it in his system where he decided, I'm just going to throw it.
Yep.
We have nothing. We're down 40-6. We have nothing to lose. That is what I plan to see a lot next year.
Yes. He needs that again.
And he needs it. He needs it. I was never scared of Pat Mahomes. He can do it, but is he going to be patient enough to slow dink and dunk Tom Brady, Alex Smith this game? Is he gonna be patient enough to do that? He wrote it out for as long as he could. He just couldn't help it.
Yep.
But you can't. He's a horse, man. He's a stallion, and it felt like they kind of broke him a little bit and kind of could pat him and pet him again. That's not him. He needs to run free. He doesn't need a saddle. You can't put a saddle on this guy. He's a stallion. Let him run. They got to find a way to let him run again. Now, not literally, but
sure.
Freedom. He needs the freedom, and we need to find out. And it's got to start. It's got to start with that line. If you can't give him time, he's not. Not to say that even if you can't give him time, he's good enough that he can still win the game, but he's not going to be happy about it. So, I mean, we got to – it's going to be a hell of an offseason to figure out how they're going to attack this and how they're going to let him get to the point where he's free again, like he needs to be, like he wants to be.
And that is exactly my point with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy dynamic right there, dog.
Yeah, I was kind of bringing you full circle because you left us.
Really did. He served you well, Chuck.
I know. No. But in regards to that Super Bowl loss, man, I'm not saying we would have won the game if we had done this a little more, but we ain't even give the running game a chance, dog. Like, I'm not saying we would have got 100 yards on the Eagles or anything like that, but damn.
They might have with 35 carries.
Yeah, but to your point, Josh, like, about them not having to blitz at all, I'm like, we didn't give the Eagles defense something to think about. That's my thing. We didn't give them nothing to think about. Like, we just kept dropping back trying to throw the ball. We kept trying to throw our way back in the game. Even when we was down 10-0, we still kept trying to throw our way back in the game. Like,
and here's the part that really pisses me off. I watched the mic'd up. The Eagles are on the sidelines like, hey, we're up 21. It's not enough, guys.
Right.
Like, they were still scared. They were scared of they're still in this game. No, we're not. I'm sitting there, I'm getting mad at the game because I'm like, no, guys, you got us. It's
could
good.
Stop scoring right now, and it would be totally fine.
Saquon Barkley, we scored 6 points, and Saquon Barkley's like, stay here. I'm like, dude. Y'all up 40. Y'all got the game, bro. Chill out. Give
Nick
us some,
Sirianni has already been dumped in Gatorade, and Saquon's like, more.
bro. And that's why I don't discount what he did at the end, because they didn't stop. They were still playing. They were still cautious of, hey, I know we only got 5 minutes left, but this team they're going to come back. So they were still playing. So those throws at the end, they count. And Xavier Worthy had a hell of a performance.
He did.
And I think it's a preview of what's going to come, because Mahomes even cut his hair off. He's pissed.
I saw that. I thought it was an old video at first, but no, this is fresh. That
Dude.
has to be. He must have gotten the full chop.
Yeah, he got the full chop.
This is going to be a real offseason. He might go do ayahuasca in a hut somewhere. We got to be careful. No darkness retreats for Pat.
Look, I know I don't know when the Texas workouts normally start, but they might be 2 weeks early this year. and if you're a wide receiver, tight end, or fullback, whatever you are, I would not miss Texas workouts this year.
No, I might go just in case.
I did. I'm calling Pat like, hey, you busy this week? What you got going? Y'all having another baby or something? Like,
hey, listen, I'm no Noah Gray, but I do have diabetes, and I did play tight end in an intramural football league. Can I help? Can I do anything for you,
bro? This can't be a McCole Hartman situation of we didn't see him. No, we're gonna see everybody, because Pat's gonna come back very, very focused this year, and it. I don't know, Chuck. Do you want to see a spark this year? I think he's gone, because last time we had a situation like this, didn't he come back MVP, Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah. I gotta see it, man. I'm from the Show Me State. I gotta see it, man. I just gotta see.
Of course.
I gotta see Mahomes had that one year with Matt Nagy, like he had all the other years with Eric Bieniemy, for me to believe it. That's just me, man. You know.
Okay. I think
his hair is even shorter than I thought. This is even shorter than Texas Tech days. Like,
yeah, no,
he short curls here.
He chopped it. He chopped it.
Do you think this is it? He talked a while ago about, like, I think he said, like, you know, his kids get older.
He said when I turn 30,
change up the haircut. 30. Okay.
Yeah.
I
think
be
September. I think
this upcoming season.
Yeah. This will be his age 30
Look, Kyle,
so.
It's not Patrick Mahomes, man. I want to make something clear about what Kyle just said.
You said I live in the Show Me State. I need Patrick Mahomes to show me. He hasn't. I heard you say he is not. Patrick Mahomes has not shown me enough, is what Chuck said.
Josh is throwing logs on this part. I like it.
Patrick Mahomes.
It's Nagy, man. When you blame Nagy, I think you're pointing the finger. You're not pointing the finger high enough. That's my whole situation.
I blame Andy too. I blame Andy too, bro. Like,
it's no two. It's just I blame Andy, because Andy is the one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Andy wanted them back. Well,
if they don't do a lot of maneuvers in cap, I'm gonna look at Clark Hunt. I'm not looking at Brett Veach.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying?
But look, Patrick Mahomes is not as long as this either, because Patrick Mahomes wanted Matt Nagy back on the coaching staff too. So he gotta take some blame too. Okay, so
here's okay, this is what I'm saying. Do you think, because here's a situation I see, and I don't know, I might be tripping. Has Patrick Mahomes got too much power in the building? Because I think Patrick Mahomes said, I see Humphreys, he's okay, but I've been doing good with Tony, man. Let's ride it out.
Mm-hmm. He definitely has some influence with that decision.
Does he have too much influence? Is he starting to?
I don't.
Get a little.
You start to be like LeBron.
In the show.
I think if that ever becomes a conversation, I think that's a conversation we'll have with whoever takes over after Andy. Because then at that point, it's going to be like, all right, well, listen, Mahomes has been here longer than whoever the new head coach is and all of that. But I think that relationship really is all good right now. I think we saw, I think the most active role we've seen Mahomes take in that kind of regard was that he might have kind of benched Wanya Morris at the end of the year.
We definitely bitched one game.
Like we saw that on the field, right?
That
Like,
Raiders game. Oh my goodness, yeah. The expression. He's like, bro, I had enough.
right. So I think that was him being like an unhappy quarterback, if you will, for totally justifiable reasons. I think if Andy and Andy Reid and Heck told Mahomes that DJ Humphries and Joe Thuney were going to be the left side of the O line in the playoffs, I think you would have been fine with that.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
And that's another thing. Like, Chiefs fans, like after the Super Bowl or whatever, they was talking about how the offensive line performed. Like, well, we didn't have our. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to hear that. Like, it looked like the Tampa Super Bowl in a sense, but we had 4 of our 5 guys. Like,
4 starters. That's a great point, Chuck. 4 of those guys were your 4 starters, and your 5th one was healthy. He was just on the sideline.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Like Joe Thuney, you played him out of position, but it was all good and well until the Super Bowl. Like, we just simply got our ass beat, man. There's nothing to it.
No, we're not gonna make excuses. We definitely got our ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happened. But
and another thing,
I just was mystified by the effort in the game plan. It's like we've played 80 games. I've seen this movie. I've seen Die Hard 6 times. I know what's going to happen in Die Hard. And now y'all turn it into the Terminator. And I'm like, we've done 6 movies. Like, put us back in the building with terrorists. What are you guys doing? What is this? Like, they changed the entire movie. And it's like, why did we do that on that big of a stage with that much preparation? It just didn't make sense.
My what if is good. I have a lot of like unrealistic what ifs, but I think my realistic what if will always be, what if DJ Humphries starts at left tackle in the divisional round against the Texans? Like, if that is the first domino knockdown, how does it look? I'm guessing they still lose to the Eagles in the Super Bowl, would be my guess. I think they still win those 2 AFC games and probably lose to the Eagles, but it's the one that I do wonder
about.
Yeah,
it happened, bro.
More the comments too, because I saw what D-Mac just said. You said, but the left side were not the starters, right? But we had a few games in the regular season to end the regular season for the playoffs with Thuney at left tackle.
That's an Andy call.
Left guard. So they roll with it, man. Like,
but it's like Josh said, they were doing short passing game. They were moving the pocket. They did it for weeks. And then in the Super Bowl, they was like, nah, we going long again, baby. We hey, balls to the wall. It's a 3-peat. Like, what?
All right, hold on. Real quick. I see D-Mac going crazy with the all caps, bro.
He wasn't
a
good
left tackle. He was serviceable enough. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
It was serviceable enough to get us to the Super Bowl.
Yes, he was, but this is what me and Josh were saying. They were playing a certain way with him, and then they changed that. Right. Where did that part happen?
Right.
Like, no, we're gonna try to air it out. Hey, remember when Tyreek was there? We're gonna try that again. When did that conversation happen? It wasn't. Joe Thuney is a hell of a guy. He's probably gonna be a Ring of Fame. He's more known for being with the Chiefs than the Patriots, in my opinion, right now. And if he goes in the Hall of Fame, I think he's going in as a Chief one day.
And one of the most decorated football players ever.
It wasn't necessarily him. It was the game plan and the way they played and the way they threw the last 6 weeks of football out the window and tried this whole other thing. It was like, where did that come from? Why did?
And I would have loved to see them play that way more, but probably not with a backup tackle and a backup guard. Like, that was a weird time to cut that loose. And again, I know I said this earlier, but like, if Joe Thuney's just playing left guard, even if the left tackle situation's not good, your guard situation would get much better.
It boggles the mind, Josh. It really does. We're going to talk about this Super Bowl for years to come. And one day an assistant coach or somebody's gonna drop a tell-all book. And
Have you
I
rewatched
heard
it yet?
this. I heard I heard Travis Kelce was sick come out this week, which little by little, I don't maybe because Philadelphia was saying, "Hey, we're sick." It started with Carter. It spread around the team. A lot of these guys, we have the flu. What kind of flu did they have? Because it didn't show. We look
But
like
hold
the
on,
ones that
time
were
out.
sick.
But hold on.
I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man.
I'm a Suns fan. I think the
I don't want
Suns
to
did
go
that
there
after
with
they
that.
lost to the Bucks too.
Yeah, I want to go there with the excuses because, like, look, you just mentioned Jalen Carter went through the flu. Like, Eagles had the flu. Then all of a sudden, it carried over to us all of a sudden with Travis Kelce. But my thing is this, bro. Both teams had the flu down there, all that good stuff, right? Both teams dealt with something, man. I'm just really not for the excuses in regards to the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl. I'm just not for it. We lost. We didn't have a good game plan, mainly offensively, but that's just what it is. I'm not trying to hear the Travis Kelce had a flu the night before and all that. Nah.
I'm not.
Nah.
I don't want to use it as an excuse, man. And we've sadly we've made Josh Brisco sad now, so we gotta we gotta move on. Give me something. You are a weird guy, so give me something weird that's gonna happen this offseason.
Oh man, okay. So this is I'll see if I can come up with an actual specific thing, but I will say my the asterisk on the Trey Smith franchise tag for me, my kind of like take of the day is that I don't love the Trey Smith tag and then probable extension if it's the first move of like a pretty normal offseason. Like if he's kind of their big acquisition, you know? But if it is the first move and there's a wrinkle coming, something weird happens somewhere along the line, then I'm all of a sudden everything is back on the table. So I do feel like I feel a little weirdness in the air. Like there might be something coming from the desk of Brett Veach that might be a little bit of a surprise. I think a prediction. The prediction that I'll make now. I don't know if it's weird or if this is bold or what, but I do not think the Chiefs will. I don't think the Chiefs will either draft a left tackle in the first round or sign a veteran left tackle to a major free agent contract. I think we're gonna see another year of kind of cobbling those options together. I think that's kind of what the lesson I'm taking officially from the Trey Smith deal. I was already leaning that way. I think that's where I'll plant my flag on it now.
I think there's somebody that we're not looking at that's not going to be on this team next year.
I think you're probably right. It's a tough list to piece together.
And it might because okay, so this is how the fan base normally reacts. It's hey, the Chiefs are going to trade Tyreek Hill. Oh, pitchforks and fire, and then they make it make sense. Right. I think it's going to be a move. There's going to be pitchforks and torches and storming the gates, but then it's going to make sense. So it is, yes, DG, it is definitely going to be a long offseason, my friend. It is all, but I'll tell you what, no offseason will ever match the Tyreek Hill accusation summer, which was the most terrible. That was the worst offseason. It just, you couldn't run from it. You couldn't escape it. There was nothing that could be done to hide it. It just was sitting there the entire offseason. And that was that was the worst. Stop saying we're going to trade Trent McDuffie because I would, yes.
That'd be a pitchforky one for me. There aren't a lot of guys on this roster that would be pitchfork territory. I was thinking about floating out Karlaftis, but I don't think that's happening either. I think we're going to get a McDuffie extension.
Yeah, those two would definitely be storming the gates. And there is a huge gathering on Highway 435 because the Chiefs just made a big move. Only question now coming is what is the ideal
free agent splash? Oh, yeah, good. So good question from DMAC then about what is Trey Smith stopping essentially? I think that's a good question. That to me the best answer I have that's kind of like on the Chiefs side is they weren't gonna acquire a player better than Trey Smith in all likelihood. They weren't going to sign T. Higgins and now they're going to sign Trey Smith, right? Like that was probably not going to happen. So I don't think it was a splash. I think what the Trey Smith tag costs is it doesn't have to be these guys, but like Charles Omenihu, Tershawn Wharton, and somebody else, or a 2-3 year deal for your Mike Dana type to kind of your middle of the roster guys who do play a lot of snaps but aren't stars. That's where I find the issues in this roster right now, and they're gonna have to keep trying to fill those up with draft picks.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one thing they have been drafting well. So
yep,
that's the saving grace in all this. I think Nick Bolton and Justin Reed. Sorry, guys. We enjoyed you. I think you're probably gonna have to find some new places of employment with this move right here, because
it sounds like Justin Reed might have a pretty good market too, which is good for him.
Yeah, he kind of ate up the. Oh my God, we got that much room. He kind of ate that up. So
good point.
We still got the room for the other moves that we were supposed to make, but the extra splashy move, I think he just ate that up. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Which is
well said.
Trey Smith is a great guy. He's great in the community. He's great on the team. He's a good player. He needs to improve on his holding calls because they come at some of the worst time. Some of his holding calls come at the worst time. Reed will probably get you a comp pick or two. Yeah, so
Hicks 2025, baby.
Yeah, so can they fill every need? Are we gonna cheapskate some? It's gonna be a lot. I think it's gonna be a lot of 1 year such and such move, like you said, the Willie Gay move. Yeah. I'm actually rooting for that one, Willie Gay.
I'll give you Juan Thornhill on that one too. He's also available. Again, you want to talk about another little reunion? You lose Justin Reed, but you can get a little bit of an older safety who's familiar with the system, who can. Because I think Jaden Hicks plays much more like Justin Reed, but it might be nice to get kind of a pure free safety kind of roamer type who can also hit like Thornhill. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of draft picks and those 1 year deals that are, or maybe a 2 year deal that's really 1 year, and you try to again kind of patch up the middle of the roster, because this team has some superstars. It also needs, I think it needs Hollywood Brown back, or another receiver of some sort, even if Rice hasn't been suspended for very long. There are plenty of places to add for sure.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun, man. Like I said, we appreciate you, Josh.
Absolutely.
What you got in store? What you got next, man? I know you're on a little chilling vacation.
Yeah, I've for the first time in a million years, I've had enough time to just I'm catching up on Severance right now. Everyone should watch Severance, and I've been playing a lot of video games. So that's where I've been the last couple of weeks, which has been really nice. You can, of course, Only Word Games on KC Sports Network. You can check that out about 4:35, 4:40-ish every Tuesday and Thursday with me, Nate Taylor, Seth Kaiser. I'm hopping on 96.5 The Fan a little bit here and there throughout the off season. And you can follow me on socials. If you're still on Twitter, I'm still on Twitter against my will. If you're over on Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky now. Wherever you want, at JB Brisco will get you there. So I'm hoping there will be some things, maybe some sneak previews, some things maybe bubbling up towards the surface here over the course of the off season. But right now, I'm wearing cardigans and I'm playing video games and looking ahead to the draft.
I sent you. Did I tweet you or did I DM you? I said, Josh, I love this sweater.
I got a message from you. I don't remember if it was public or private, but I got a message from you that said you liked the sweater. I brought out a different one for you tonight. I've been adding cardigans to the rotation, and that's been good for me.
He's single-handedly bringing cardigans back. Oh, okay. Before we leave, Royals, How do you feel about the Royals? Are you excited?
Good. Yeah, I kind of am. I'm not covering the Royals in any capacity right now. That is not my job at all.
I would not know anything to cover the Royals.
So I'm looking at the same things you're looking at. I'm getting texts from my very excited brother who's a huge baseball guy. He's also my brother Caleb can be a bit of a sports pessimist, as we all can be at times, you know.
Mhm.
One bad game means the season's over. I got a text from him after I think the second spring training game that said we might go 162-0. So I'm in, baby. I'm in. Raise the fountains or whatever the tagline is. I'll figure it out.
Didn't they put up like 20? Didn't they put up like 20 the other day? Or 15?
They got
right?
close. They got close.
Did they score more than the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? That's the question.
They got close.
Yeah, all right, Josh. You went too far, Josh.
But wait a minute, before you go, Josh, here's all I got a question about. I know y'all saw it, man. Like the whole Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport incident at Starbucks, man. Like
how did we miss that?
Was just random as heck, man. Like that was unexpected. All over Tom Brady possibly tampering with Matthew Stafford in Vegas.
Here's my hot take for you guys, and I think you're going to be with me on this. We need more of that. If you're in, I don't know either of those guys personally, okay? I'm not friends with either of them. I don't know either of them. I don't have either of their phone numbers. I don't know them. If you're going to make your entire existence online the way that they do, the way that I do, the way that we do, we're all digital, right? But these guys live and breathe in the finite, like milliseconds between who's going to break this story first, all of this. And it's nonsense because I turned off a bunch of my push notifications after the Super Bowl. So I don't see news the second it breaks. I see news when I look at Twitter or when someone texts me. Today, I found out about the Trey Smith tag because a radio producer was like, hey, can you come talk about Trey Smith? And I was like, what did I miss? And you know what happened, guys? My life went on. It was okay. I think on some level, insider culture has really made all of us worse sports fans. And I think, look, if you've got insider beef, go get aggressive in each other's face at a Starbucks, which is so much funnier if you know who Howard Schultz is and who Jordan Schultz is in relation to Howard Schultz and Starbucks. Kyle said it the best in the comments. Jordan had home field advantage at Starbucks.
Did he own Starbucks or something?
Howard Schultz, his dad, is okay. I think it's technically the CEO. And let me get this exactly right.
All right, Josh. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Let's get it.
What reporter do you think could kick the most ass in Kansas City? I got me a guy. He's a little older, but I think he will kick your ass.
National or local?
We going local. Let's go local first.
Okay, because I was like Jay Glazer nationally, he's like an MMA.
Oh yeah, easily, Jay Glazer. Yeah. Locally.
Okay.
Herbie.
I was thinking Herbie. I was just trying to decide if I could come up with a better bet than Herbie.
Herbie will lay most of you guys out. I'm swearing.
Yeah.
Herbie don't play.
He does not. He does not play. He definitely could beat me up. He does not have. Here's like on another side of the coin, like Matt Derrick, big dude. Like I don't know if you've met Matt Derrick. If you've stood next to Matt Derrick,
huge.
Yeah. He should be playing left tackle. Just a big man. And so Matt is also
Nick Jacobs is a gentle giant too.
That's the thing. They're both so nice. They're both so nice. That I'll tell you what, if you want to do like podcast v podcast, 41 is the mic with Matt and Nick, they've got a couple of hitters there. And I can't imagine Matt getting so mad that he would hit me. I just can't imagine it. He's the nicest man in the world.
Could you see Blair Kokoff getting some shots?
Also, Blair and Vahe, also two of the nicest people in the world.
They're all nice guys.
They're all very. I mean, really, that the whole like Chiefs. I'm not like leaving anybody out here on purpose. The whole Chiefs media corps is very nice. A bunch of very nice people. She's not in the media corps anymore because she's with the Kansas City Current now. Danny Welniak could beat anyone's ass who ever stepped to her at any point ever. She was a better athlete than anyone else holding a microphone in those rooms. So I have infinite respect for Danny Welniak, but she's with the current now. So thankfully we're free of that. She and Herbie, I think, would have been my two like Hunger Games style final picks.
Now we're gonna do a reporter kickboxer style tournament.
Okay.
Now you don't have to answer this.
Okay.
And I love him. How far do you think Nate would go in that tournament?
not as far as you'd like.
Nate's gonna kill. Kill.
What's he gonna do? Kick me to death? Nate.
I don't even think Nate might not be the worst one because I think if you mess with Nate, Holly might kick your ass. Because Holly,
absolutely.
I love Holly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Holly more the fighter.
Man, Holly might be the fighter in that.
No, family. Holly wears the mitts in that family for sure, no question. No, I think Nate would win the matches that he was favored in, but then I think he's getting bounced. Just he's also very athletically. He's in shape. He's out here playing tennis and stuff, right? So
yeah.
He got
the endurance. He might outlast some guys.
No, you're right for sure. And he's gonna survive. I think Nate's gonna go ahead and make it through. Nate might make it to the final four. I think he's gonna clear out.
I don't think he'll be mad at that.
No, I don't think he should be. I think he's favored over the entire Kansas City Star. And
you said the KC Star has no chance.
No, I'm thinking about where Nate stands in particular. Jesse Newell might have slight hands. I don't know for sure. I think Jesse might like work out and not tell anybody. There's a chance of that. So he's the dark horse of the Star team, I think.
DG said we nasty for talking about this, and he might.
Man, I've been doing this exact bit for like close to 10 years now. I remember doing this bit with Danny Welniak on the radio.
Oh, really?
And now that we're here, like absolutely, we're like, Danny, you could beat up all of these guys, right? Like, yeah, of course, absolutely.
I'm kind of wondering how Carrington would fare. He's a nice lanky. He got reach.
He's got reach, dude. I swear to God, I was thinking he's got reach, and then you said he's got reach. You know, he's not bulky. I'll tell you what, I asserted myself very well in a recent arm wrestling competition with several of my friends, many of whom are in better shape than me. So, I'd like to put myself in a nice, respectable kind of middle of the pack, and wherever that beef's gonna go. But yeah, no, we have done. Think about how life gets at 9:45 p.m. on like a Wednesday night doing terrestrial radio. I mean, we're basically doing that here now on a Thursday night. Of like, you start thinking, well, what if we did like 3-on-3 basketball? What if we did each like radio show per time slot? Like, it's just you start fantasy drafting your friends into Hunger Games or basketball games or whatever, and I feel like that's fun.
We got Kingdom Cast. Charles got a little bit of size on him. He's taller. He got a little reach. CJ's a big guy. I'm a big guy in the belly. You know what I'm saying? So I can splash you or something like that.
Yeah, you only good for 5 minutes. You only good for 5 minutes.
I'm not gonna be in it long. But I'm gonna play my part. Boogie got the long hair. We might have to cut the hair, Boogie. We might have to cut the hair, so I don't want that to be a disadvantage for you.
Or weaponize.
Yeah, just let me, CJ, and D-Mac handle the basketball. Let us handle the basketball. We got the 3-on-3.
That is hilarious.
D-Mac, shut the hell up. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, you might get him with the LeBron.
Get the hell out of here.
Jesus Christ.
That's going to make me go off. That's just gonna make me go off. You mentioned Bron. So
the LeBron and Chuck thing has taken on a life of his own. I will tell you I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry. We're gonna get you out of here after this. I would tell you the peak of the Charles and LeBron thing. Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we have a very special guest, great guy, Jeremy Macklin. We're about to start the program, and Jeremy says, "Hey, Chuck, leave LeBron alone."
No way. I saw that you had Macklin on. I was like, this is pretty cool. That's a good get. I did
He-
not.
yeah,
I
he
did not
was-
wonder
he
if he
was-
razzed Chuck before you went live. That's amazing.
Yeah, he definitely
was-
said that before we went live. I'm
It
like,
was
what?
absolutely hilarious. It was because it was so. It was like he just, you know how you just pop up and then everybody says, "Hey, how you doing, Josh?" He was, "Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?" And he says, "Chuck, leave LeBron." It's like, where did? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you seen the list of the
It's been a
100?
long time. I was gonna
Dude,
ask who
no.
the worst player on that list was, just so we could figure out whose name to say when we're playing 3-on-3, just to get in his head.
Oh boy, you know about
Chuck
the
made a list
Did
of.
you have Chuck? Was Draymond? Did you have Draymond on that list?
Hell no.
You bet not have had Draymond.
Hell no, I didn't have no Draymond on that list. Hell no.
No, hey, Chuck, you have no right at all to act like that's a stupid question for me to ask. Like,
You had Dolph Stays on that list.
thank you.
Wait,
You.
who?
You had Bull on that list. Don't act like
You
I
had-
can't wonder.
You had
Hey, y'all
World
gotta
Be Free
stop.
on that list, bro. You
Y'all
You got
gotta
Better World
stop.
Peace on that list.
Y'all trolling.
That's your
World
pin
B3
tweet.
free and Bobo. No, stop.
I seen Tractor Trailer on that list, bro. You okay? I'm just naming
Cut it
random.
out. Cut it
Okay,
out.
hey, tonight everybody in the chat just tweet Chuck random NBA stars that are better than LeBron. Jason Terry was not on that list. Was he?
Nah, he
didn't have
wasn't either,
Jason
but
Terry,
he busted LeBron's ass though in 2011.
Oh, God.
I tell you.
How do you have a photographic memory for every time LeBron had a bad game?
I mean,
Amazing.
it's easy. He's had so many failures.
Yeah, because he's been playing since you were in an embryo.
I mean, Kobe Bryant played for 20 years. And he had a lot more successes than failures.
He-
Name what? I have a couple other differences I would suggest in there. I don't want to do this.
we're not gonna do this.
What
We're
am I
not
here
gonna do
for? Here to argue about LeBron.
We got to start doing bonus Patreon shows.
Yes,
or
you
something.
should. Okay, country. Here's a free. Let me just finalize this for you. Free idea on my way out. From now on, you have to ban your guests from talking about LeBron with Chuck until after the show. Then every guest gets 10 uninterrupted minutes to just go through the list name by name by name by name. And then Charles, you gotta defend yourself again. And I think that's gonna be. I would pay to listen to Jeremy Macklin go, Dwight Howard? And that was a good name. That was a good name I just came up with. That was forgiving.
Yeah, that
I
was
can't-
on the list.
I
That
can't.
name was on the list.
I figured.
This dude, he just hurt my comments with the beard dandruff. He just killed
Yeah,
my
I
whole,
definitely saw that.
he killed my whole confidence. He just Kingsley Ciamatta, whatever Kingsley's last name. He just Kingsley me. Thank you. Look, Chuck, you see this? He killed me and banned
Yeah,
this guy.
dog.
Ban him. He's banned. He just entirely shot me in the head with that one.
We're gonna get Manscaped.
I will never wear black again on this
advertising.
show.
We're gonna get Manscaped advertising on this show. We're gonna get you maybe some custom beard oil or something. I think this is gonna work into your favor.
Oh man, yeah, because the
that's
beard is
hilarious.
very dry. I'm so he just really killed me. He hurt my feelings.
Because I wasn't even looking hard, man. And he looked hella
I didn't
hard.
know my camera was that
It's like,
good. I thought
zoom
it
in.
just
He had a
Watching on an
microscope and
iPad, he's just
everything.
zooming on your shirt.
is that
definitely
dandruff
zoomed
on his? Are those flakes? Jesus. I'm definitely going to shampoo my hair right
I think that shirt's older than his
Why
coat
did
he walked
you
in a little bit ago.
Hey man, how am I gonna explain this to my kids, man? You just killed
Don't
me on
ever
my
let
own
them see
podcast.
this.
You don't.
Oh,
You just don't.
oh man. Oh god, he got me on that one, bro. I haven't been got in a while, but he definitely got me on that one. I've been shaking my shirt off. I was hoping.
It's so bad. I'm checking my white shirt also. Like maybe they can see some of the pixels. I don't know.
It was so bad. I was just the whole time. I was like, I wonder do they notice I'm shaking?
It got so bad. You thought about finishing the show like this. All right. Thanks for watching Kingdom Cast. I'm down here, danger free.
Have you ever walked into a party with like a black light and you like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What is on my shirt? I just quit this
that black light will expose everything.
Oh God, the black light will definitely humble you. You remember the MTV show they used to go in people's rooms and black?
D-Mac, chill out, man.
I'm sorry, we on a whole different. I don't know where we at. Right now. It got really weird on here. We were talking about Nate being a kickboxer, and now I got dandruff on my shirt.
I'm just trying to hide. I'm trying to hide my person. I got a pimple here. They might talk about here shortly too. So I just gotta. I don't have the skin to do this right now, man. I don't. I gotta moisturize.
Oh man, hey, Chuck, our sponsor,
let's get
Room Raiders. That's Room Raiders. Oh God, man, he killed me with that dandruff. Oh, dude.
Hey, man, the chat funny as hell.
The chat is hilarious. I hate all of you.
Now that my phone is charged up enough again, because my phone died on me. That's why I had to leave. But anyway, shout out to the good people at Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KingdomCast, all caps, all one word.
All caps.
Yeah, all caps. So when you deposit up to 1,000 bonus credits, you get 1,000 bonus credits on top of that. Well, $1,000 worth of bonus credits. So if you haven't signed up to Underdog Fantasy already, download the app. Use our promo code not at KingdomCast, but KingdomCast, all in one word.
Sterling Holmes does this same read, and oh my God, I'm so jealous. He does the whole read, and it's like, and I'm like, how does he do that?
He has literally been doing auctions since he was a teenager.
That explains.
Doesn't that explain everything about him? Doesn't that make everything click into place?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. But RP does it too. Oh God, he's gonna kill me because I don't know his name. Is it Patrick Allen?
Oh yeah,
Patrick Allen. He does it too. It's not as fast as Sterling. His was so good. I was like, "Yo, dude, could you do our reads?"
You're our disclaimer at least, or what?
Sterling is, oh my God. I did not know he did auctions, but that makes perfect sense. It is clear. It is very fast. You can understand everything he's saying, but I'm like, God, how did he do that?
699, 699, get 799, get 899.
Shout out to Sterling Holmes.
Have you had him on this show? I'll tell you what, that's a get.
No. Make that happen, Josh.
We may have to. We have to make that happen.
I'll do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it in.
He's a great guy. I've talked to Sterling before, but he's a great guy. So yeah, let's make this. This show has went everywhere, and I love it every second of it. So, hey man, keep doing what you're doing, Josh. Man, you like you said, like I said, we were looking for you for a long time. Now that we found you, we've had a couple great shows. We got more in the works. Gonna do a lot of things in the future, man. I appreciate you, and let's just enjoy this ride, man, because it's gonna be a ride, man. And I will try to keep my beard more wet. Like,
I would like to
put some coconut oil in my beard, man.
I'd like to come back. I'd like to come back next time with your beard dripping wet. I think that's that's what we need.
Yeah, it's about to be a Jerry Carroll in here.
It's gonna be looking like Patrick Mahomes' current haircut.
I'm just gonna be spraying my beard.
I had the same thoughts, bro. Like
what I said?
What I said? We said what we said.
Said there's gonna be a ride. He gonna think, oh, who said that? Oh God!
Y'all said that.
I like this show.
I love this show, Josh. Josh, take us out of here before we get in trouble.
Yeah, we gotta get up out of here. So with that being said,
No,
I
shut
thank
it down.
everybody for tuning in
Shut it
tonight,
down.
man.
That's
Enjoy the rest of the NFL scouting combine throughout the rest of the week, all the way till
Keep
Monday,
your
I
beards
believe.
wet.
And then we're gonna be back at it next week. I guess to talk about a little bit about it or whatever.
Don't listen to him.
Nah. All right, so yeah, I'm
Don't
definitely shutting
listen
out.
to
Don't
this
forget to
man.
like,
He's
subscribe, comment,
crazy.
share on social media platforms. Again, if you're watching this on Twitter, don't forget to like and retweet the tweet. That's Aaron Live. So with that being said,
We appreciate
thank you,
you,
Chiefs
man.
Kingdom. We out.
Josh, stop it, man. Stop it.